It's that time again. Time to strap scuba tanks to our backs and 25 or 30 pounds of lead to our waists so we can crawl across the lowest spots of the South Carolina low country, the river bottoms, in search of prehistoric shark teeth. I'm here with Diva, who doesn't really like the spot we're diving today because it's deep and dark. There are trees and snakes everywhere. But we haven't been here in at least 3 years, so the current has had plenty of time to wash out a variety of treasures for us to find. Well, that is if you consider shark teeth up to 30 million years old to be treasures. Primarily we're finding Angustidens, which is the evolutionary grandfather of Megalodon, who was the usual star of my adventures. We're also on the hunt for Native American artifacts, and that means arrowheads, folks. Ancient Americans frequented these waters thousands of years ago, and often we find their tools while on the hunt for fossils. Honestly, though, we'll pick up anything interesting, and since we're at the bottom of the river, literally anything could be down here. We're not finicky collectors. We'll pick up bottles, pipes, coins, colonial relics, phones, fishing lures. You get the idea. You might have noticed that the water's red. Well, that's because the rivers drain the swamps where decaying leaves leach tannins into the water, just like tea. But there's not enough sugar in the world to make this water palatable, let me tell you. While I'm down here, I'm going to show you what it's like to dive for shark teeth, and as usual, film my finds as I find them. It's going to be a little different today than normal, though, because I just let the camera roll when I found a few spots with a bunch of teeth, and rather than break it all up, I'll show you some stuff right after I find it and some stuff later on in the video, because I'm also going to show you how I clean these things. Because in case you were wondering, it's not clean down here. So thanks for tuning into the hunt. Absolutely love finding artifacts. Would prefer they be complete, but wouldn't we all? This one hurts. This would have been a bowl and bevel. Actually, it still is. But look at that material. Oh, gosh. Well, all I can do is keep hunting. Maybe bring a whole one back. That's cool looking fish tooth. Don't know what kind. But, you know, anytime I see something that looks like a tooth underwater, I'm going to pick it up. There's a nice little angie. 1 3/8. It's got it all. Look at that root. Look at those cusps. Tip is pretty good. That's a nice one. That's a nice little mako right there. Ooh. This one's got a wicked shape to it. This is a lower tooth. It's 1 7/8 inches long. Got this killer broad root to it. Got both cusps. Well, this one's a little bit nicked, but it's mostly there. You can tell the lowers from the uppers because the lowers are shaped more like daggers, so they can stick into the prey while the top teeth saw off pieces of meat. Pretty efficient system these sharks have developed, huh? This is a nice little tooth right here. Just 1.25 inches long, but it's pretty sweet. Got both of the cusps on it. Tip is pretty good. Got some serrations, and the root is awesome. Look how thick that thing is. I love these little angies. That's a nice looking Angustydon right there. It's got it all. Good cusps, good burlette, good serrations, good root. Just a tiny little nick on the tip from feeding. It's 1 7/8 inches long. That's a nice one. All right, so check this out. These are some teeth I found in the river yesterday. I kept them in water because I keep them wet so that that black stuff doesn't get so hard on there, because sometimes you could just wipe it right off. Now, on ones that are really thick, like this one, that's probably not gonna work. I mean, you can try, it'll probably get some off. Like I just tried it on this one, right there, and you can see it came off on the sock. See all that brown stuff on there? But it did not take it completely off the tooth. So we're gonna try one that's not quite as modeled from the river. Let's try this one. Oh yeah. I got quite a bit of it off. That looks pretty good now. Look at all that came off of there. Get some off the root. Yeah. Still pretty worn underneath all that, but the tooth was still intact enough and not pitted that I was able to get most of that off. Alright. That looks pretty good. Alright. Now let's try this one. This one should turn out pretty good, I would think. Alright. So that. Oh yeah. That's going to be good. See all that stuff coming off of there? That is tannic acid stain. It comes from all the organics that are dissolved in the river water. Like, it's basically swamp water, you know, old decaying trees and leaves, and you know, it's the same color as tea. But anyway, look how good that tooth looks now. They got all of that off of there. So there you go. Let's try one more. This little one. It's worn, but it's a pretty tooth. Got a lot of that off of there. Nice looking little Angus-Steiden right there. It's worn, but it's complete. All right. This great white, probably not going to work out so good. But let's try. And the reason I think that is because the enamel wasn't glossy underneath, so that means it's kind of porous, or it's got a lot of holes in it from the acid in the water, and it makes it so it absorbs this black stuff, and then you can't get it off, at least not with this method. So it's decent looking, I guess, but I think we could do better on that one too. All right, you get the idea. A little bit of water on there, keep it wet, wipe it off with a sock. You can get a lot of them clean that way. Real good Angus-Steiden here, 1 3/4 inches long. Got both cusps, got the tip even, got some serrations, got the brulette, got the whole root. Flat side is good. Yep. That's case worthy all day. All right, here's the next thing I'm gonna try to get these teeth clean. Put some lemon juice in there. Not pure lemon juice, still water. There we go. That ought to be enough. Stir it up. More than 50% water, so it should be really slight. Really easy on them. Shouldn't do much, but it should clean a lot of that junk off of there. All right, now let's let time do some work. That one, not so pretty, 2 3/8 inches. Actually, the enamel was kind of pretty on that one once I cleaned all the river stain off, but the root, tip, yep, seen better days. All right, I didn't film this underwater. I knew it was pretty smashed, but when I was showing Diva all my stuff, she's like, dude, this one's patho. Don't know if it's patho or not, but it's got a pretty wicked curve in there in the blade where the cusp should be. So, you know what? Whether it is or it isn't, it's a cool looking tooth. So I'm showing it to you. This one cleaned up beautiful. That's a great white. I knew the root was a little bit shot down there, actually a lot shot, but hey, we don't find a lot of great whites down here, especially where we're diving. So to have it clean up like that, pretty cool. That one looked cool sitting on the pedestal. It'd been sitting there for a while collecting all that gunk, so I cleaned most of it off, and it's pretty worn underneath. 2 1/2 inches on the nose for this guy. Not terrible, not great. Of course they had to eat. If you didn't, this one would be a lot better, wouldn't it? Not the best tooth I've ever found, but it looked big underwater, so that's what it looks like all cleaned up. Great Angus-Steiden here. 2 13/16 inches long. Got the cusp, got the whole root, got serrations. Flat side is good. You can probably clean the rest of that off with a little light buffing, but I think it looks pretty good like this. Talk about a great dive. I mean, I was swimming and picking them up 2 and 3 at a time in some places. That's fun. I mean, even though there's not a lot of gigantic ones in here, that was a fantastic time. I even had to use 3 separate containers to get them all together. I got the great ones up here, and I got the unrecognizable fragments, the fodder, if you will, down here. So let's go up here to the good stuff first. Those are all the ones that I videoed underwater. Got Artifact there, some nice smaller ones, and those are the okay ones. And those are the broke ones. Actually, I call those probably about 3/4 whole. That entire group down there, and then the junk. Anyway, super fun. Glad y'all could come along. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you sign up for the notifications so you can see when we put up new content. And I'll catch you next time. Till then, happy hunting.